Hello, this is the Daily Forex Report for November 28th. We're going to look at the US-Japanese yen pair. First, this particular pair closed up on Friday. This pair is moving up, biased is to the upside. Look for it to hit some resistance around the 84.25 area, possibly hitting some support to the downside around 83.75, so right around in this area. We are looking for this pair to continue moving to the upside. Now looking at the Euro-USD pair, this pair moved to the downside on Friday, broke previous support, is moving down, biases to the downside. Look for it to potentially go as high as 134.41, right about in this area, and possibly moving down to 1.3124, so pretty good ways to the downside. Now look for some resistance to be hit around 134.25 and look for some resistance around 1.3195, so right about here. Okay, let's take a look at the pound US dollar pair. This pair surged to the downside, moving down. You can see overall this move, the bias is definitely to the downside. If you notice here, we have a strong move that has continued to play out to the downside. We've had areas where this pair has broken, has moved higher, broken up, like here, and even a little bit further back, but that's not the overall direction is definitely to the downside. Look for this pair to potentially go as high as 158.55, right around in this area, and look for it to potentially go as low as 154.22. Look for some resistance around 157.20, right about here, and look for it to move down below 1.5572, right about here. Okay, now the US Swiss. This pair moved to the upside. It did close higher, biased is higher. Look for it to continue that move to the upside. Look for it to potentially go as high as 1.0110, a little bit higher up, and possibly moving down to 0.9922, so right about this area. Potentially hitting some support around 0.9975, possibly hitting some resistance to the upside around the 1.0055 area, right around in this area. Okay, as far as news announcements, we don't have any significant news announcements being released during this next session. I do want to show you, however, what I'm looking at. If you go to the weekly time frame on the US-Japanese yen pair, back out a little bit, you can see I've taken my Fibonacci retracement levels from this point down. I've also taken the Fibonacci fan from this point down, which, by the way, is under, in every MetaTrader, you have to the upper left-hand corner, you have inserts. You can go down to Fibonacci, you can see Fibonacci retracement and fan right there for your use. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit and talk about what is typical of this, or why we use this. If you see here, we have on the retracement 23.6 and the 38.2 area. Those are very important. We also have 50 for the fan and 38.2 on the fan. Well, what we're doing is looking for basically this area that the fan and the retracement make up together. It is a box. It's kind of a slanted box, but it is a box. And we're looking for price to break through that point and go up to this point, or potentially, depending on how much time goes by, hit this 50 line to the downside. So the more time that goes by, the closer to the actual price it gets. So if we go to the day time frame and look a little bit closer at this, you can see that we have a potential buy order. And let me grab my pointer here. We have a potential buy order right around the 84.37 level, and looking to exit 100, almost 150 pips to the upside. As far as a downside movement, we have basically a stop loss that is a little bit about 71 pips, 75 pips to the downside. So we have this move on the week time frame, basically a 2 to 1 as far as risk to reward that you could look to take advantage of on this trade. You can sometimes even drop down a little bit further and get a closer view, a little bit better view of this trade, and that sometimes do a better job of looking for your stop loss than just picking the area that we talked about earlier. You can see here we have a low that was created. We have a low here, and here would let me bring this down a little bit. This would be our entry. So there are times where you have an area of resistance and then an area of support, and if price, you put your stop loss just a little bit below that area, most likely price isn't going to go there again, and that can bring your stop loss even in tighter to around the 50 mark. Well, I hope that helps, and until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.